Hello, welcome back to my tea house. For today's tea break, we'll be doing a deck profile on the new Black Clover Dark Triad Purple deck. Now, I've been excited to do this deck profile for quite a bit, ever since I picked up the deck, ever since I picked up the cards, and ever since I've gone 12-3 with the deck. I know, that's crazy. Everyone, including me, thought that the Dark Triad deck would be abysmal, that it would be god awful. The deck is so fun. And honestly, I can't believe I'm saying these words out of my mouth. If you wanted to take it to regionals to surprise someone, you might win 2 rounds. You're not gonna top cut. Like, I'll be honest. You're not going to top cut. But if Bandai ever decided to make a volume 2 for this set and added a couple cards, maybe a protection card similar to the 4/1 Silver Fang in the Saitama deck, or some other form of protection or like nullifying your opponent's abilities, I honestly think the deck could be competitive. For those that don't know what the Dark Triad archetype is, it is akin to the Nami deck in One Piece, if you are a One Piece believer just like I am. But I'm trash at the game, so I play Union Arena. I'm also a huge weeb, so I want more anime, not just one. But it is a deck where you have an alternate win condition where the point of the... Yo, don't you... Hey, chill. Anyways, the point of the deck is to mill out your whole entire deck, and at the end of your attack phase, have no cards left, 3 names on your field. That would be the Vanica, the Dante, or the Xenon, as well as the tree of qliphoth. I'm gonna be botching the name the whole entire video, so for those that want me to be name accurate, just correct me in the comments and move on. Correct me in the comments, move on, sip your tea, sit down and enjoy the video. Now, there have been quite a lot of people, and you guys always know I got to talk about the community and some of their deck choices, but there has been quite a lot of people claiming that the 3/2 Vanica is an awful card. That is arguably one of the best, if not the best card in the deck. I clearly think it is the 3/1 Xenon, just because it is a popper where you could pop your 0-drop Vanica or your 1-drop Xenon, and you get a draw on top of the 2 that you get. Now, if you position, god damn, bro. Yo, bro, chill, bro. The people are gonna think I don't feed you. Now, if you pop the 1-drop, right, you get to strategically place some of your other cards that allow you to mill, like the 0-drop Noel, which is a tech choice that I think is worthy of being in the deck. It has a draw trigger as well as a draw 1, trash 1 card. Now, even though it doesn't serve any energy, it is still a good card to start out. Sometimes I see myself starting off with the 0-drop Vanica or the 0-drop Dante, placing it in the back and placing the Noel in the front, getting a free dig into my trash and having a chum blocker set up right away. Now, a lot of people have a misconception. We aren't playing this game to beat our opponents down with this deck. We want to win. We want to win through the egotistical way. We want to win through the alternative win con. We want to win by milling out our whole entire deck and having our opponent look at us as we go, yeah, I'm gonna mill this. I have no cards left in my deck. I'm gonna go into my attack phase. I'm gonna choose not to swing. I'm gonna pass my turn. Tree of qliphoth effect. After my attack phase, I have no cards left in my deck. I have 3 unique names, Dante, Xenon, and Vanica. You can botch that name on purpose just to be a dick. Vanica. And the tree. So I guess that means I win. And you look at them just like that. Just play stupid. Now, there's nothing really to talk about this deck. This deck does have a lot of complications going up against decks with heavy impact, and because your removal card is set on BP reduction, you will find yourself having a hard time into the green Toshiro matchup, simply because of the Kenny, right? The Kenpachi cannot be reduced, and any cards that state they can't be reduced, it will be a hard matchup for you. So in that situation, I say build up your board, take those blocks, hope they don't have impact, and hold your own. Now, the 4/1 Dante is a necessity in the card. I rate it kind of low out of the top 4 cards that I think that are the most valuable in the deck, but this card is your nullified impactor. We do see people running the 0 drops, right, to help you against those heavy impact matchups. But again, I just want a turbo mill. I think this is a super fun deck. You do have a lot of advantages into decks with slow buildup or low heavy aggro, right? And the Dante allowing you to reduce your opponent's BP by 1000 until the start of your next turn comes into clutch a lot of the times. So if you want to show your skill as a pilot, because again, this game has a lot of skill in it, even though we have some life trigger stuff. Trust me, if you want to flex on your opponents, want to flex on your friends, show them that you understand this game very well, you'll want to pick up this deck. So let's get into the mix. Now, getting into it, we are going to talk about 3, arguably your 4 most valuable cards in this deck. And when I say valuable, I mean valuable. The first card we are going to talk about is the 5/1 Dante Zograzzi. I hope I said his name right, you know. But this man raids in -1000 to 2 of your opponent's characters in the front line up until the start of your next turn. And the reason why this card is so amazing is because it helps stall out the game. It helps you block some of those 4K bodies. It helps you get rid of some of those 5K bodies. That way you can get to that end goal, that win goal, that I'm just going to pass and you're going to lose type of vibe. Now, the main reason that we love the Dante is purely because of its when attacking ability. When attacking, you get to place the top 2 cards of your deck into the sideline. Now, I've gone back and forth on whether or not I love doing this or I hate doing this, because sooner or later, depending on your opponent, they will pick up that they are not going to get cards unless you swing with the Dante. So a lot of times they'll take the swings, they won't block. And if you hit a special, it feels bad. It feels really, really bad. If you hit a super valuable raid target, it feels bad. But at the same time, you are going too deep into your deck each time it swings. And this is a card that your opponent needs to get off the board because it helps you expedite that end goal, that tree of qliphoth. Someone please tell me how to pronounce it. But that alternate win condition, because we don't want to win by beating our opponent down. We want to win by the alternate win con. Our second most valuable card, and a card that I see a lot of people sleeping on, a lot of people wanting to run 2-ofs, a lot of people talking on. Bro, you're telling me digging too deep into my deck, pitching trash that I don't need out of my hand, when sideline I get to play either the 2/1 for free and look at the top and mill another card, I get to set up the 1-drop to pop next turn, or I get to set up a 0-drop Vanica to pop next turn. Make it make sense. This card is so close to being the most valuable card in your deck. This card is so close to being the #1 card in your deck. I'm not lying. This card is so good. And once you realize that getting 3 or 4 of these in your hand feels so amazing, you'll thank me. Because imagine having your turn extender, being able to play out one of these, extend, play out another one. You're digging 4 deep, bro. 4 deep. And you have that sweet 35 BP, which gets over those 3K bodies. And when you use your Dante ability to minus the 4K bodies, you get over those as well. And then in some matchups, there are some cards like the new Ichigo or like Lifa that can't be blocked by a specific BP unless it's 3500 BP. This card is a miracle worker. Moving on to our third and final most valuable card in this deck. In my opinion, the best card in this whole entire deck is this 3/1 Xenon right here. And the reason being is when played, you may sideline 1 other character on your board and draw 2. Now, when you pair this with the 1-drop Xenon, you can stack the bottom of your life with either more 3/1 Zenons, or with the 0-drop Noel, or with the 2/1 Dante. That way, when you get close to the end game, you already know that you have cards that are going to help you accelerate and get to that win faster. So being able to play this is amazing. My favorite line is playing the 0-drop Vanica in the back, playing the 1-drop Xenon in the front, or playing the 0-drop Noel in the front. That way I can get an early draw 1 discard. And then once I scale up to 3 BP, you play this, you pop the Vanica, you draw 2, the draw 1, trash 1 pending, then you draw another one, you trash 1, and bro, it feels so good. It's like music to my ears. On top of that, it is a 3K, so it is a pretty good early blocker if you feel like needing to put it up in the front, if you're like drawing heavy into the Xenons. You can also rely on the draw trigger that it has, because in this deck, draw triggers are the most valuable triggers we can get. The second being removal, the third being the color trigger, because if you have a Dante in the trash, you can just play that Dante back out and get another card deep. It's all about getting the cards out of your deck, into the sideline, into the removal, and getting to that end goal. Getting into the deck, the main bulk of it, we are going to talk about your 0/1 Vanica, right? One sideline, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand into the sideline. Like I stated previously on the other card, this is a great card to use to combo off the 3/1 Xenon, letting you get a extra draw and then trash off of that 1 play. It's also good as a chump blocker. Self-explanatory. It has no trigger, but it holds a dear spot in my heart. We are running this at a 4 of. It is necessary. For our next card, we are running a 4 of the 1-drop Xenon. Like I stated with the 3/1, this Xenon, 1 sideline, lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You get to reveal up to 1 Dark Triad or Devil, but we aren't playing any Devil Affinity cards in this deck. Among them, and add it to your hand. Place the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck. Now, the fact that we get to place the cards at the bottom of our deck instead of sidelining makes this card an MVP. And that reason being is you take this 1-drop and you get to see what it is that you're on top. Grab 1 card that will help you dig further into your deck, but also make sure if you have another card that lets you mill from your deck, you need to strategically place it in the right order. That way you are aware and understand when you're going to hit that card at the bottom of your deck. You're able to mill out and do what it is that you need to do. Now, it has an active trigger. This is good because you get to play this off of your Dante. That becomes a double blocker, Nullify Impact, which is the 4th most valuable card. We'll talk about that when we get there. Other than that, it's self-explanatory. This is a 4 of. It is a vital card in your deck. The least important card in this deck, funny enough, and I see a lot of people running it at a 4 of, at a 3 of, and everyone's always saying, well, when attacking, you get to draw a card. True, yes, that's amazing, you know. Realistically, I'm only playing this card at a 2 of, and I'm only playing it for its defensive raid, to block when needed, to nullify the impact, or if I need to and the Dantes aren't there and I have to dig 1 more deep, then I use the when attacking ability. Other than that, the only reason why I even have this still in my deck, I wanted to replace it with a Charmy and a Noel and just not run this at all, is just purely because it's a name and it has came up in clutch moments, but most of the time I'm discarding this card. Now, once again, this is a raid target for Xenon. It has Nullify Impact. The active main, you can place 4 cards from your sideline into your removal area. If you do, this character gains. This character cannot be blocked by a character with 3,000 or less until the end of the turn. Now, if we wanted to beat down our opponents to win the game, we can. Like, no funny, this deck is pretty good if you want to just beat your opponents down, but where's the pride in that? Where's the ego in that? Where's the blue lock in that? We're about ego here. Ego is what wins you the game. And I want to win a game through the alt win condition. So when I pass my opponent feels it, and I mean feels it. This is a 2 of, stop running it at a 4 of, stop running it at a 3 of. If you want to beat your opponent down, cool. But when I see that, it's a skill issue to me, my boy. It's a skill issue. Now, moving on to another 0 target, we are running a 4 of Dante. I've seen people run a 4 of Charmy purely because of the draw trigger and running the Dante at a 2 of, and I'm not mad at that. If you want to do that, cool, right? It gives you an extra draw trigger. But once again, we do need to make sure that we have a lot of name targets in order to achieve our win con. And having a huge Dante skew allows me to play more Dante bodies and not worry about having a Dante at the end game. When it comes to the Vanica or the Xenon, I'm a little more particular on when I'm playing it to the front or if I'm keeping it in the back. But with the Dante, it being a raid target, I throw it around willy-nilly. It is a 0 drop, a 1500 BP, and if you're bricking, it is an add to your hand. What else do you want a 4 of? One of my next favorite cards, the 2/1 Dante. This Dante is basically a scry. You get to look at the top card of your deck and choose whether you want to place it in the sideline or keep it on top. This card has came in clutch many of times before going into a chaotic mill spree or draw spree, getting to see if the card on top is something that I want to draw to hand. And a lot of times, sometimes it's a final, sometimes it's a removal, and I'm like, ooh, I need that. Sometimes it helps you in certain situations, like, do I need this card right now? Yay or nay? But majority of the time, I'm using this card to get another card out of the deck and into the sideline. This is a great target for your 3/2 Vanica if you if it ever gets sidelined, right? Also, if you want to be cheesy to close out the game and you have another Vanica on board and you need to get a Dante out, you play the 3/1 Xenon, pop the Vanica, and then play the Dante, then mill a card, and now you have all names on board and cards out of your deck, right? Cool lines that you could come up with, cool combos that you could come up with. On top of it, it is a 3K body. This is a card that I like to play early into the front as an early blocker because I get to move towards my win condition and I have a reasonable blocker for any weenie rush that's going on. Now, the 4th most valuable card that I have been alluding to is the 4/1 Dante Zagratis, right? This Dante is a double blocker nullify impact if you remove 4 cards from your sideline into your removal area, and it helps you with those weenie rushes. It helps you when you use your Dante to minus the big bodies on the enemy board, and now they're sitting there like, damn, I either have to remove this Dante or I have to remove that Dante. And a lot of the time they are going to waste the removal on this Dante because this is a double block nullify impact. Even if they play impactors, this will protect you. Now, the downside about this, right, is you are taking up some of the resources that you need in order to get your tree effect to draw one, this one by removal area, and it does feel bad when you do the effect and then they just pop it. A lot of times I think they are just waiting to pop this. This is a key card if you are going up against a deck with heavy impact. So if you're playing against the Code Geasses, the Vermilions, I don't want to say Sakuna, but if you're playing against decks with heavy impact, this card is important, and it is important to use the effect because they're either just going to remove it, and if they can't remove it, you have to get rid of it that turn anyways to block the impact and then block out all the other damage to continue getting to your end goal. Now, this Dante also has a draw trigger. It is a 4000 BP. It is a all-around athlete and a great card to have in your deck. You are running this at a 4 of, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries. Happy Pride Month. Now, some cards that people may not think about adding into this deck, but I think plays a pivotal part in this deck and has had me think about putting it up to a 4 of many of times is the 0/1 Noel Silva. This card, purely for the draw 1 trash 1 effect, it helps you dig deeper, and like I stated previously, if you set it up with the 1-drop Xenon and place it at the bottom of your deck, when you draw into that card and you have all the names on your board, you could just drop that card right on the board, get another draw 1 trash. It's also a good starter. There are some times that I will start with just a 0-drop Vanica and a Noel, and I'll keep that hand because no matter what, if I'm taking extra draws, etc., I'm getting to my end goal. And the Noel allows me to have a chum blocker, and it also allows me to dig a card deep into my deck. Another thing about this card is it has a draw trigger, which is amazing. So not only does it serve its purpose being in the deck, but if we get hit with it out of life and your opponent sees that draw trigger, they're like, oh man. And trust me, when people see you hit a draw trigger, they feel that. They feel it. We are running this at a 3 of. If you want to bump this to a 4 of and take one of those Raid Xenons out, I don't blame you. I will just add that this is a red card, so the energy does not apply towards your deck. So you can risk bricking. And when you brick in this deck, you brick. Like, you brick. But majority of the time, you are hitting your curve. You are on pace towards your end goal. So try it out, see if you guys like it, and let me know. Instead of running the 0-drop Xenon Nullify Impact, we are running the 0/1 Charmy. It is still an energy target, so it generates energy for us, but we are purely playing this because of its draw trigger. I've seen people, like I stated before, run this at a 4 of and bump the Dante down to a 2 of. I'm not mad at that. Again, I prefer having more names just in case I need it towards the end game, but we are purely running this because it is a 0-drop. It helps us start the game, and it has a draw trigger. We are running this at a 2 of, totaling up to a total of 10 zeros in the deck. Now, I would be lying if I said that I use this card. I don't use the Dark Triad final. I use Surpass Your Limits. Now, there's a rhyme or reason for this. I left the Dark Triad in this deck list purely because I didn't want y'all coming for my neck. But there's something about surpassing your limits when you play that final that invokes the tree, bro. I'm surpassing my limits right now playing a deck that I shouldn't be playing, and I'm whooping your ass because I'm milling, I'm digging to the end goal. Now, if you want to run the Dark Triad, by all means, be my guest. But if you are a real one, if you're a real tea drinker, if you're about that relaxation, if you're about that tree, you would want to surpass your limits. We run this at a 4 of. This is a very important card. Almost pivotal to see, honestly. I feel like I want to see at least two final triggers throughout the game because, again, they allow you to play more cards to dig deep, and it helps you accelerate your goal. If you see this out of your life, it kind of feels bad. If you see 3, oh my gosh, it feels really bad, and you have to make sure you are on point with every decision that you make. Otherwise, you're losing the game. This is our removal. We are running this at a 4 of as well. There's still some text that I want to use with this. A lot of the times, right, I'm using it just to pop the chump blockers and get an extra draw, which is amazing. Or I'm using the 4000 BP instead and getting rid of a pesky body that is going to do a lot of damage. But one thing I have thought about is maybe I should just target one of those cards that is annoying with the with just the base 3, and then choosing draw a card, because then that like starves off that body from dealing damage next turn because I'm blocking it, and I still get to dig a card deep. So that's something I do want to experiment with. Another card that I've thought about wanting to put in this deck that I just haven't is the Devil, the 2/1 Devil, that on play you neg one of your opponent's cards -1000 until the start of your turn. I think defensively it would have its purpose, but I'm trying to mitigate the cards with no triggers because I want every card coming out of life to serve a purpose and be very, very valuable. But other than that, it's self-explanatory. Experiment with this. There's multiple ways that you can use this card. Some cool lines, some cool tricks. Finally, the last card that we are talking about, and the most important card in the deck, purely because this is your win condition. You need this on board. The Tree of qliphoth, or qliphoth, or Cleopatra, or I don't know. The Tree of Q, all right? The Tree of Q. Now, at the end of your attack phase, if you have no cards in your deck and 3 or more Dark Triad Affinity cards with unique card names on your field, you win the game. Now, this card is important to see. I see people running it at a 2 of. You're probably bound to see it because, again, if it's in your life, you're going to see it. But it's going to feel bad if you mill it with Dante, then like you're shit out of luck. I say run it at a 3 of because you do want to see it. And if we ever get to the point where we get support for this deck and we can play competitively, there are a lot of decks out there that do have site removal. We will see a lot more decks coming out with site removal. And if you're running it at a 2 of and they remove it and you already ditched the other one, it's gonna feel bad. So just run it at a 3 of. It's a free discard on your Vanica or any of your other cards that make you draw 1, discard 1. So I don't see any harm in that. Now, the main highlight about this card is that the active main allows you to mill 4 from your deck, not from your deck, mill 4 from your sideline, put it in the removal, and then draw 1, trash 1. A lot of times you want to start off with that just to dig 1 card deep before going into any decisions that you make with drawing, discarding, all of that. You can only use this ability once per turn. If you could use it multiple times per turn, that would be busted, and a lot of us would be playing this deck competitively. But other than that, it's self-explanatory, and that wraps up the deck. I want to say, me and Bent, thank you for stopping by my tea house. I hope you enjoyed your tea break. I'll catch you on the next one.